Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Jori. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So where about are you tuning in from today?
I am tuning in from the lovely Long Island, New York,
Oh,
United
nice.
States.
What's the weather like? Do you guys get snow?
We do get snow. Currently, it is raining and very windy.
Oof. It's starting to get cold here, but yeah, it's sort of sunny and cold. Yeah. Yeah. So Jory, can you tell us your story? What is it that you do, and what are some of the incredible impacts that you're making?
Thank you for asking. I am a publishing authority partner, and basically what that means is that I help people share their story and do so in a various form of ways. So one of them is publishing books, as you see a lot of books behind me. The other way is helping people publish podcasts. Sometimes they desire to speak on stages and get their newsletters published. So anywhere someone can share their story and
Mhm.
multiply their impact. I'm usually the one that they call and ask for help, and I put them on the right path. So
Yeah.
that's me in a nutshell right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So what got you into the work that you're doing right now?
So I think from young I was always a storyteller. When I was little, it was called lying. And then as I got older, you like that as a joke. So part of what I've also been able to do in terms of telling stories is craft jokes. So doing stand-up comedy for about 18 years. Been writing poetry, doing spoken word, rapping, songs, playwright, on stage, behind the stage. So writing and storytelling has honestly been my life. And that began early on at about 6 or 7. I wasn't feeling like I belonged in a lot of different spaces and areas. But when I picked up a book, oh boy, man, like I was able to immerse myself in there. I was sliding down the poles at the Berenstain Bears house. I was having tea and finding the yellow hat, hanging out with George, Curious George. And so each story, I got lost in the writing. I got lost in the space. And
Yeah.
it felt like I belonged. And so I don't find it ironic that I now help people kind of craft their stories from their own personal narratives so that they can share it and other people can kind of join them and see that we're not very different, honestly. We all have a story to tell. And so I believe that I've been put on this earth to help people excavate those stories and then get them out into the world.
I love that so much because that's what I always tell people. All of us have a story. It doesn't matter where you were born, what language you speak, what you look like. And those are the stories that I'm hungry for. So thank you for sharing. Thank you. So tell me more about some of the books behind you and the impact that they've made in the people's lives that you know.
Sure, sure. So the two books behind me are the two best-selling books that I have. I'm a two-time best-selling author. And the other ones down below are actually my clients' books. And so I'm a book writing coach and a publisher. So people come to me and they say, "Hey, I have this story. I have no idea what to do with it, how to structure it. I'm not sure which person I should write it to." I kind of help them from idea to finished product, impact that it's made. The book up here, right there, boom.
Yeah.
That's actually an international best-selling book. So it's been sold throughout, I think Nepal, Canada, where you are,
Yeah.
as well as some other places in Europe and here in America. And the other book, actually, we've just finished sharing it at a local space. It's October, I want to say last month, in Kansas City, where we were able to gather mothers and daughters together and kind of help them come around the idea of identity. And so most of my books surface around that idea of identity and finding your identity. And once you find it, then kind of crafting your own story now that you know the truth about who you are and whose you are.
Mm, that's so powerful because I think it's in our identity we can either suppress who we are or expand who we are and impact people. I'd love to hear from you. What does that word mean to you, and how have you applied it and learned from it, the word identity?
Identity, honestly, is it's almost like a combination of metacognition and behavior, in my opinion. And so metacognition is simply thinking about thinking. And so sometimes we have unconscious thoughts, sometimes we have very intentional thoughts. And so both of those actually drive our behavior. And so when I think of identity, I think of what are the thoughts that are surrounding the behaviors that I'm exhibiting. And so some of those thoughts, again, they're unconscious. They were planted there from somewhere else at some other time, some traumatic event, some environmental issue. And there are other ones that are intentional. Like I am purposely trying to think about these things because I want to engage in this behavior, right? And so when I think of the totality of identity, I think of, again, a combination of both thoughts that we're not even aware that we're having, that we're carrying. And that's where the danger, in my opinion, lies when we don't even know why we think these things about ourselves. We don't know why we think these things about others. And the danger in that is that because I don't know why, I can't change it. And so
Mm,
I'm kind of stuck in this loop of behavior.
yeah,
And until I figure out, let's figure out how to make this record stop.
yeah, yeah.
And now let's uncover why am I thinking this? Where did this idea or this thought about myself come from? And if it's not something that's going to serve me, how do I replace it? How do I get rid of it? And so that's my definition of identity in a nutshell. The combination of the thoughts that we have that lead to the behaviors that we exhibit.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Would you say that our identity essence started as a child, meaning our childhood can shape who we are and what we believe?
I would say this is probably a combination of things, and not to get too like scientifically, but I was talking to again a friend earlier before we jumped on about epigenetics and the idea that there are things that are even before we were a seed, right? Before we were germinated, before we were in our mother's wombs, biologically that were impacting us well before we were even aware. And so, as an individual who's suffered multiple miscarriages, like I had to get to the why. Like, is it that I'm unable to have kids? Well, no, because I currently have four. So that wasn't the issue. The issue was that I had heightened cortisol levels. And when my cortisol levels increased, it also created this space inside of my body where my body was like, oh, something's trying to fight us. And it's not supportive of life when your body believes something's trying to fight it.
Yeah.
And so once I figured that out, I was like, okay, well, this is the reason for this, but why is my cortisol levels increased? And so this became this rabbit hole. And even though I figured it out, because I did still have those stressors,
Mm-hmm.
my kids are now receiving the effect of that environment well before they were here. And so one of my daughters, she's neurodivergent and she has heightened sensitivity. She gets easily stressed, easily, right? And I am convinced that it's because of the conditions that I was in while she was in my womb. So I think it's a combination of both the factors that arise and occur before we're even here, in addition to the environment that we're in. Because now I have the ability to kind of level set that, right? And correct that and kind of mend that situation. But then, like, even for myself, growing up in Chicago, super stressful environment, poverty, what people would call the ghetto, right? Very dangerous,
Yeah.
gang,
Yeah.
shot at these things. And so that environment, it impacted me. It impacted me greatly. But that environment didn't tell kind of like the story of where I was going to end,
Mm,
right? Like multiple businesses, homeowner, right? With master's degree. Like
yeah.
that's not the environment that was conducive to this type of life. And so while I do agree that there are some things probably to happen in the nurturing stage of our younger development, I think again, if we figure out why do we believe these things about ourselves, our identity, once we figure out the why, we can shift it and we can change it, right? I knew why I was miscarrying and I shifted and I changed it. And my next pregnancies were fertile, productive,
Mm.
full-term pregnancies of 3 children. But I had to figure out the why. Once I figured out the why, I had to replace it. Okay, I'm stressed because of this job. I'm stressed because I work in one borough of New York City and I live in another borough, and this distance is not conducive. And so
Mm.
I shortened my commute and
Yeah.
I stopped taking public transportation, and I started driving to and from work. Much easier,
Yes, it
much gentle pregnancies. No, seriously, like, but I also understand like I am an empath. And so being on a subway, I am receiving all of the energy from all these varying people, right?
is.
All of their issues, their fears, their concerns, their work, all of that is coming into me. When I'm in a car by myself, it's just me. Like if somebody's upset, it's because I'm upset. Like
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah,
to fight
yeah.
off other people's emotions. And so again, learning the why gives you power because when you figure out the why, then you can change the what.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. I love that you're talking about being an empath because so many of us we don't realize that we are empaths and we're like vacuums sucking everybody's garbage. And we don't see it, we don't understand it, we blame ourselves. How can we recognize other people's energies and how do we create a bubble around us and protect ourselves from them?
That's a great question. I think one of the first things we have to do is to identify like how we are at ease. I don't know about you, but I have 4 children. My oldest is 11 and my youngest is 6. So when they are around, I am rarely at ease. And
Yeah.
so the first thing is, what does my normal look like? What does my regular, natural, normal look like? Once I figure out what that looks like, then I'm able to determine, does this person or this environment take me out of my normal? Does it take
Mm.
me off of my just level at ease temperament?
Yeah.
Once I figure that out, then okay, you have one of two choices. You can either become so entrenched in who you are at ease that it doesn't matter what environment you go into, that you can show up as yourself at all times. Second one was what I was trying to do for a very long time, and that was create that bubble around me. And so if you crying and acting out like I'm not coming, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be over here.
Yeah.
But living like that, it doesn't allow me to fully experience all of my own emotions because I'm so concerned about warding off other people's.
Mm.
So I think the first thing we have to do is really get grounded in who we are when we're at ease. Once we figure out who we are when we're at ease, then we have to figure, okay, well, what are the things that help contribute to me being at ease? What support me being at ease? For me, it's nature. So this morning, even though it was raining, I went for my morning walk. I'm still
Yeah.
going to go for my morning walk, even in the rain. Why? Because it helps me become at ease. It supports me being at ease. And
Mhm.
so after that, let it do what it do. The day's gonna come how it may,
Yeah.
but I'm centered because I'm at ease. Another thing that I do is I like meditation and breath work, right? And so some people they find it like, oh, that's woo woo and it doesn't work. Like, okay, again, you figure out what works best for you to support you being at ease. For me,
Yeah.
I need to breathe. I need to remind myself this is what calm feels like. This is what a steady heart rate feels like. Once okay, this is what it feels like. Now I know when my heartbeat is going too fast. Now I know when my energy is feeling low. Like if I don't recognize and really try to like cognizantly identify what this looks like when I'm regular, again, I'm not gonna say normal. Everybody's normal is different. But when I am regular, then when there's some sort of dysregulation, wait, what happened? Was it the environment? Was it a person? Was it an event? Something happened to dysregulate my mood. Now we have to figure out what do we need to do to get back level.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I guess for some people this is all woo-woo, the empath stuff. And I'm like, there's nothing woo-woo about it because I try to give people very basic examples and scenarios because if you walk into a room that is full of people, you instantly feel some type of way. Maybe you feel intimidated, shy, or just very uncomfortable, and to the point where you have to leave. That is our energies talking to each other when our mouths are not moving.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me more about your TED Talk that's coming up. Is this your first time? What's going on? And this is so exciting. So tell me more.
Um, this is my first TED Talk. And what's going on is a lot of things happening on the inside of me. Having been on stages at different levels and different magnitudes, I feel prepared in terms of my ability to public speak. The topic in which I'm speaking about has shifted a bit, and it's become a little more personal, a little more emotional. Recently, I had a friend that passed, and she brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, such an incredible storyteller and writer. She's
Mhm.
getting her doctorate, and we had made an arrangement that when she finished her doctorate, then we were going to jump straight in and write her book. And unfortunately, she passed before the doctorate was done
Yeah.
and before we began writing the book. And so my TED Talk has shifted, one, to honor her and to just kind of sound the alarm for other people, that you don't know if tomorrow is promised. And if you've been given a task, if you feel like you've been given a mission, right, a higher calling, um, I'm encouraging people to answer the call.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
Don't put it off.
Mhm.
Get it done today, right now.
Yeah.
Um, and this is probably the third situation that's happened like that recently.
Mm.
One of the books behind me, one of my other authors, she passed before we were able to finish the book. And so her book is it's incomplete to a degree because she was 83 and it only covers the first 40 years of her life. Um,
Yeah.
and so again, I'm just like, if I have this stage, right? If I have the opportunity to be Ezekiel 33. I don't know if anyone listening to this is familiar with the Bible. I'm a
Mhm.
Bible reader. I'm reminded that I need to sound the alarm and be the watchwoman for my brothers and sisters. And those aren't just people who believe like I believe. Those for all
Mhm.
humanity. We're all created in the image of the Creator.
Yeah.
And as brothers and sisters of the Creator, we are all given a task to look out for one another. And so this is me being the annoying little sister to a lot of humanity and saying, hey guys, wake up. Life is short and it's not promised. So go, be, do, teach, write, run, act, play, podcast,
Yeah.
whatever it is on your heart that God has given you, task to do.
Mm.
Please fulfill your mission, answer your call.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And that's what I'm trying to do. Honestly, the very same thing that you spoke of and you're doing is that it's not like a threat or emergency, but it's urgent enough for us to wake up. And it's urgent enough for us to step into our power, our purpose, and to do what we were created to do right here on earth. And I'm sounding the alarm and telling people, hey, it's time. You should have done this 10 years ago, 5 years ago. What are you waiting for, right? And just to help people understand that it's okay to be afraid, to do it afraid, to be judged. And I think people judging us, that's what holds people back. People saying that's not normal. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't
Mm.
be there. How dare you to speak of these topics, right? Tell me your thoughts on that.
So I'm actually my talk is about AI. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm tackling a subject that is pretty taboo in a
Mm.
lot of different spaces, and specifically in my industry. I'm in the publishing industry, so
Oh.
writers are not very fond of this AI and generative AI. And so my entire TED Talk is about the way that we should be leaning into AI versus fearing it.
Mm.
In the beginning of my talk, I shifted it a bit, and so I am creating space for authenticity at the top
Mm.
of my talk, and that will either pull people in or it will push them away, but they will have to make a choice. From the
Mm.
literally the top of my talk, you're
Yeah.
going to have to make a choice. Either
Yeah.
you're going to be closed or you're going to be open.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so once the opening happens, I feel good about where we're going to land.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof, that's a big one. And I admire you for choosing that one because most people would avoid it out of criticism. Because all of us use AI. Okay. I use Chat GPT to help me edit certain stuff. It depends on what it is. But yeah, all of us use it, yet we're at times afraid or ashamed of saying, I use it. That doesn't make us less smart or unable to think more with clarity or certainty of who we are and what we want to do. What are your thoughts on people who judge AI? They've never used it. They just don't like it because other people don't like it.
Um, I I well, my initial response was I pray for those people.
Yeah, yeah,
I pray for them because
yeah.
if you look at the way that history has gone, and I sit here today as an African American,
Mm,
African descent, sitting in America, right? In my own home, the idea that if I stayed in a world where people were afraid of what they didn't know, they were afraid of what they didn't understand to the point where they weren't even able to explore, then
mm,
in America, I wouldn't have these privileges, I wouldn't have these luxuries, and I wouldn't have these rights
mhm,
because no one took the time to explore and get curious about these individuals. Because I'm Native American. So I was here when the pioneers came. I was here when the pilgrims got here. And then they brought over the other half of my DNA as
mm.
African slaves. And so if there was no curiosity, if there was this, oh, I don't understand it, I don't know it, I'm not familiar with it, and therefore I want nothing to do with it,
Mhm.
I would have a very different life right now.
Yeah.
And so I pray for those people mainly because there is a part of them that they are missing out on because they're not leveraging AI as the tool that God created it to be used as. I've been able to spend more time with my kids because as a teacher, I left the education field earlier this year. As a teacher, a lot of my lesson planning, it took hours. I would get home and there's hours spent lesson planning for other children. There's hours grading papers for other children. While mine are sitting there like, mommy, mommy, can we play a game? Mommy, mommy,
Mm,
can we go to the park? Mommy, mommy. And after a while it like tugs at your heart and you're like, well, I'm in this profession, I want to help children, but your children are time starved.
mm,
They're not getting any of your attention. And so I leveraged AI and I did all my lesson planning before I came home. I graded all the papers before I left the office. So when I got home, mommy was present, and teachers saw me moving and they were like, hey, how are you doing comedy again?
mm.
Hey, how are you building businesses?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you mean you're going on a vacation? How? How is this happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, because I used AI to get my life back.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And so they were like, well, I don't know about anyone else, but can you show me how? And so that was literally what I started doing. I started teaching my colleagues how to use AI ethically,
Mhm.
right? Not to replace them. The goal is not to replace them,
Yeah.
but to help draw them back to their humanity, to
Mm.
bring them back to the things that they like to do
Yeah.
before they got bogged down in this corporate machine. right? Before they got the golden handcuffs.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so that's kind of that's that's the soapbox I'm standing on right now.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of something you don't know. Get curious about it. Figure out how to use it. And once you figure out how to use it, return to the things that you like. The guitar behind me, there's no way I would have had time to learn how to play the guitar. The life that I was living before. No way. No way I would have been able to write 12 books. 12 books. At when? What time? I have 4 kids. How is this possible?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's possible because of AI. I don't have to sit here and bang my head against the wall to get a book out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote my first book doing this.
Mm,
I took my podcast episode, and this is something you might want to think about. I
yeah.
took the transcript from my podcast episodes and I
Yeah.
turned them into my book.
Mm, that's really cool.
Was it my work? Yes, it's my words.
Yeah. Yeah.
I let the little machine do all the editing and all the correction and the fixing.
Yeah.
Then I got an editor and I published it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't have to sit here banging away at the keyboard. My first 2 books were all done through dictation. One podcast episode. The second one, I did a keynote at a women's conference. I did the keynote at the women's conference. It was recorded. I said, hey, can I have the recording? I took the recording and I turned it into my second book.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
Why
That's
are
really
why
cool.
are we not working smarter, and why are we working harder? Why? The
Yeah.
world has changed. The methods in which we create should also change.
Yeah. 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 I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well
And
said. Thank
so, yeah, if you're afraid of AI, if you're scared
you.
of AI, then you are probably the people that it will replace.
Mm, yeah.
But for the rest of us who learn how to use it as a tool, the rest of us who learn how to use it to honestly like mirror and reflect our humanity, like
Yeah.
we were made in the image of a creator, and so we are by design to create.
Mm,
And
that
a
should
lot
be
of
a
us
quote.
we stopped doing that, but we stopped doing that. We
Yeah.
stopped creating. We've exchanged uh
Yeah.
imagination for algorithms.
Mm,
We don't want to create from this space in our brain anymore. We want to know who likes what gets the most clicks, what is the SEO with this? No, just create.
yeah. Yeah.
Just create.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
And so, yeah, that, like I said, that's my soapbox. I have found so much freedom in
Mhm.
leaning into this tool, leaning into this machine, than I have found restriction. I think the way I was living before was very restrictive because with the amount of time you have in a day, you
Mhm.
have choices to make with how you spend that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I choose to spend my time present
Mhm.
here, loving and living the life that I have now
Yeah.
before it's too late.
Yeah. Well, I'm on board. Look at my hair and lips. So I am. I am. Yeah. And there's so much clarity and freedom and peace and comfort into stepping out. At first, the thought of it is scary. Trying to do it is scary. But once you step out, what's the point of stepping back out and putting yourself back in a box? Because society wants to put everybody in a box based on how they look, what they do. I really don't fit in any boxes, and people don't know what to do with that or with me, and I don't care. Right? Right? Yeah.
That's the beauty though. That's because God created you unique and
Yeah.
individualized, and you weren't ever supposed to be in anybody's box.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you. As we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share that we didn't get to talk about?
I have a book that actually goes through my exact process for how I do dictation authorship,
Mm.
called Talk Your Book. And literally, like the title says, I teach people how to talk their book.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the subtitle is called How to Write Your Book Without Writing a Word.
Mm. I love that. I'd love to write a bunch of books.
I mean, you have over 500 podcast episodes. You probably should be writing a bunch of books.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool that you can do that. Yeah. I'm
You
I'm
can do that.
learning every
Yes.
day. Yes, I
Yes,
can.
Bernadette, you can do that.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
But I
I'm
think
so
we
much
we
every
we
day.
we um we believe that it has to be hard.
And
We
we
were
make
told,
it hard.
but we were told this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
We were told that this is how you write a book. You sit, you suffer, you stare at a blank page,
Hmm.
and you try your hardest and you pressure, pressure, pressure. What happens if you just show up and have an awesome conversation with an interesting human and you're
Mm.
just present?
Yeah. Yeah.
Both environments can produce a book.
Yeah. 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 You're right. Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully this episode inspires people to check into that, to step out and to try things and to get a hold of you. How can people do that if they want to see more of what you're doing and listen to your podcast?
So my podcast is called 30 Minutes of Power.
Mm.
And it is, as the title says, it's a 30-minute conversational podcast where I just interview amazing individuals who are doing incredible things and making impact across the world. They can follow me anywhere using the tag at Jori O'Neale, JORIONEALE. Don't forget the E at the end. Uh, you could go to my website, jorioneale.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is honestly where I play the most, and
Mhm.
I'm there at Jori O'Neale. I don't know if you see a common theme. Type my name, stuff
Yeah.
pops up. Good
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah, all my books, they're on Amazon, they're on Barnes and Noble,
Yeah.
my podcast, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, if you are video human and you like that sort of stuff. I have those also, but yeah, I'm easy to reach. And what I would like to do, if I may, I want to challenge anyone who's listening. Next time you're outside, instead of putting your AirPods in, instead of putting your headphones on, turn off your notifications,
Mm.
open your voice memo on your phone,
Yeah.
and just talk. Just talk. The
Mhm.
thoughts that you're too afraid to say, the story that you've buried, just talk.
Mm.
Talk, use your voice, and when you're done, take it, give it to AI,
Mm.
and let it mirror back to you who you actually are, what
Yeah.
you actually think, how you actually feel.
Mhm.
And then let me know how it goes. I'm interested to know.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah. You're giving me ideas now. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. My last question for you is what is the meaning of life for you?
Ooh, the meaning of life is a life well lived. That is a quote that I have made every effort as of the last 3 years to abide by.
Mm.
The meaning of life is a life well lived.
Yeah.
Um, Whatever that well looks like for you, I think will depend on, again, your identity.
Hmm.
What
Mm.
what makes you you?
Yeah, yeah.
And for me, family,
Yeah.
creativity, and God.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's a life well lived.
yeah,
Being with family, being able to be creative, and being able to spend time with my God.
yeah. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Well, Jory, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you
Thank you
for having me.
for who you are, what you do, how you do it. And I look forward to hearing or reading more of your books. And I'm excited to check out your podcast. One last thing, though, before we go, where can people listen to your podcast? Let's say they want to check it out.
Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon. We are we have an RSS feed, so anywhere you listen to podcasts, we are there. But like again, if you're a video person, you can find us on YouTube and my YouTube channel. Wait for it, folks. Jori O'Neale.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you again for coming on the podcast. We'll be
Thank you
in
for
touch
having
very
me.
soon.